Welcome to Elevate Your Business, a podcast for mortgage professionals from Elevate Coaching at Guild Mortgage. Hosted by Coach P, top producer, vice president of Elevate, and national coach, each episode is a playbook for success. You'll hear from top producers and industry leaders as they share the moves, mindset shifts, and lessons that shaped their growth, both at work and in life. Elevate your business, making the moves that matter.
Today on the Elevate Your Business podcast, Coach P talks with Shannon Heinze, a Guild leader and producing branch manager known for her resilience, positivity, and heart. Shannon shares how she's built lasting success by focusing on people and leading with purpose. She opens up about how life's hardest moments shaped the way she leads and how she finds strength in serving others. Her story is a reminder that true success isn't just about results. It's about the impact you make on the people around you.
Elevate your business, starting now.
All right, today we're joined by someone who's completely embodies what Elevate is all about: leadership through love, strength through challenge, and impact through service. She's a producing area manager, a powerhouse coach, and one of the brightest energies we have at Guild. I want to welcome Shannon to our podcast.
Hi,
Hey.
Paula. Thanks for having me.
God, I love seeing you because you always have the greatest smile. You have so much energy and you are
Thank you.
so much fun, by the way. So I
Thank
just wanted to let
you.
you know that.
I
Um,
appreciate it.
so you've been in the mortgage business 23 years and you've been at Guild for 12. You're doing a lot of different things, but we always have to find out, how did you get into this industry?
Well, I was a banker at a bank. I wasn't even a banker. I started as a teller at 18 years old, working part-time right out of high school, and then went into customer service and then became a banker, worked as a banker at the bank through college, paying my way through college. And then when I graduated, I liked what I did, so I stayed there. And about a year later, I will never forget the day I walked out to grab a set of customers that were looking to open a new account. And when I turned around, my face was like, I didn't want to help them. And I thought, okay, that's the first sign that you don't love what you're doing any longer. And so I started thinking, what do you want to do? And I sat in a bank. There was a mortgage professional that was in there, and we started talking, and I contacted his boss, and the story's history. She hired me, and I've been doing mortgages ever since.
For sense. Well,
Yeah.
you've weathered a lot of storms because you've been in the business a long time.
Yes.
So what is inside of you that keeps that sparkle? Because it's been challenging, especially this last 3 years. What do you do? How do you keep yourself up and ready to start your day every day?
I love solving problems. I think that's probably the answer for most loan originators, is being able to solve a problem and put a client into a loan that, you think that you're the best at, and you really believe that. I know I'm better than most at doing that. I say that, but we all think. But the last 3 years for me, I feel very, very blessed and fortunate that I am a leader in this market, because I feel sorry for loan officers who don't have something else that's driving them, right? Like, if they can sleep in if they want. If they're not going to make their calls, they're forced to. And I feel like as a leader, we have to show up every day. And so I am really blessed that we have that.
You got a strong why. You took a little time off of producing,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
And then you decided to come back into production. So what made you decide to come back into production?
Yeah, I was a non-producing manager at that bank. And a bank, as we all know, is a little more difficult to get loans done. And so it was me fighting every day for my team, my loan officers. Every day there were problems. And again, I love solving problems, but this was the only job I had, was making sure we were profitable and solving loan drama. And that's not always fun, especially when it's not your own. And I know as a leader, that's what we do, but man, it was tough. So I missed originating. I missed having, getting the love from your families and the clients that you're getting into homes. And so it really was best for me to get back into originating. And Guild was open to giving me a shot.
I think, just even like being an Elevate coach and being in production and manager, when you produce, and it really doesn't matter the number, how much you're producing, but when you're in it, then you really understand what's going on. So when shifts and changes come in and when you speak to people, you speak from a place of knowing, hey, I know exactly where you are right now.
Yeah, I think that's the best attribute is knowing where the hiccups are or the bumps that we need to help improve upon for our team. So I love being an originator as a manager.
So you've been really open about a pretty powerful chapter in your life, a difficult time with your son who got ill. Talk to us a little bit about that.
Yeah, so my son Andrew was diagnosed with a pretty aggressive form of lymphoma when he was 4 years old. Um, Aggressive, it was a tumor that was growing in his abdomen, and it was growing so quickly that it started taking over his organs and wrapping around all of the things. And so, um, by from the we did initial testing and we were hoping it wasn't this, but by from the announcement or the call from the oncologist, 4 days later he was intubated, meaning a machine was breathing for him. And so, sitting there watching your 4-year old not being able to breathe on his own is it's pretty traumatic.
Super scary.
Yeah.
How did that, time shape you personally and professionally?
Yeah, so I was still working at that previous company, and I'll never forget that day. I was knee deep. We used to have the paper files, so I had them all open on my desk, and really dialing in, working on files. And I got the phone call. Called my husband. He was home with my son. I said, "You guys need to meet me at the hospital. They're administering him," and I left. I left all of the paperwork sitting on my desk. I didn't think twice. I walked out. Um, and I don't know that I thought about mortgages again for the next, we spent 6 weeks in the hospital. I don't know that I thought about mortgages for the next 6 weeks. And that's a really difficult thing in our world to, a lot of people say we don't get vacations, we don't take time off, we're always working. And so it was the first time in many years that I remember taking phone calls on my wedding day. I was taking phone calls for mortgage. So we just don't turn off. And man, that'll change you immediately. I turned off. And I didn't know if I was ever going back.
From that time, how did that change the way you led? Because you're coming back, you've been through pretty traumatic time, right? Kind of puts life in perspective. I think when we're talking to our loan officers all the time, we say when they're really upset and stressed out, okay, let's have perspective here. No one's dying,
Right.
right? But in your case, you really dealt with someone who was really super ill, very, 4 years old. So when you came back, how did that shape you as a leader?
Yeah. To your point, family and work life balance became so much more important. Prior to him being sick, I hate this word, but I would have called myself a bulldog. I wanted to win. I'm a competitive person. I wanted to be on top, and I would do pretty much anything to win and to be on top. I was a top producer. I was winning the trips, and um, I I just wanted to be. I wanted to show my value through my production. And after, it was so much less important. As long as I was meeting my goals from income to the production, nothing else really mattered. I didn't need to compete against all of my teammates and all of the industry. I didn't need that anymore. I just needed what is going to make my family happy, healthy, and allow me to still continue to attend the baseball games and the dance concerts and be present for my kids, because that is what became very more important. So how that translates to my team is that's always my first question. First of all, I want you doing what you love every day. And also, if there's ever any time that you need off, anything you need to do, I'm going to support it because I want you to be with your family and I encourage you to be with your family.
I'm sure your people you lead love that about you, right? Because a lot of times people don't, especially top producers, we become managers and we're just driven hard. And our expectation is that everybody's going to work like we are.
Huh?
But having that early on, I think that makes for you, such a great leader.
Yeah, I think I agree. I think, even when we have our teams, when we have weekends or nights and, the LOs are expecting their LOAs to help and work, I appreciate that. And there's always a reason for that. But man, I am very, very open about, you guys, this is your day off. This is what you need to take. You need to respect that time. And I think with the loan officers too, I highly encourage them to, take the vacations that they can cut off from the phones and let me answer it. Forward the phones to me and go take a vacation.
That's great. So you've had great mentors, and Doug Jamieson has been a big influence on you. What is one lesson Doug has taught you that you carry with you in your own leadership style?
I think the biggest lesson that I have taken away from Doug, besides the fact that he is so kind, so he listens and he always has the right words. He speaks so well when it's, whether it's something he's saying that's good news or whether it's bad news, he knows how to put it. But I think the biggest lesson I've taken from him is to pause, to wait a minute, to not react as a leader. I know our business can be so emotional and, everything is now and everything has to happen right away. And, even it's more emotional for our loan officers. Everything is a big deal for them because they're so invested. And so, from Doug, I've learned to just sit back and pause and think about it and wait. And sometimes things work themselves out and it's not even a thing that I have to work through. Sometimes by sitting back, there's a different path that you wouldn't have taken when you're filled with the emotion. So he's taught me to just pause.
I've learned that too. I remember one of my managers saying, okay, give it 24 hours. Because you're like up here, and you're just like, by the time that 24 hours, I agree with you. Like a lot of times you're like, okay, wait a minute. This isn't as bad as what I thought. This was a misunderstanding or a miscommunication. So it gives you some time. I love that. You've also called yourself, you've been chronically coached. What does that mean to you?
And I love to learn. I think that comes along with all of us doing mortgages. We're learning every day, but I love to learn and I love to learn from people that are smarter than me. I mean, I try to get myself in a room with people that are smarter than me all the time. And I think that's what coaching is about is, you have something that you can take from all kinds of different programs. I've obviously been coached within Guild for years and years and years. But then looking at programs and taking some classes outside of Guild, it gives you another perspective of, what other lending companies or what other things that are going on that, I don't know, I've always loved it. And a lot of my coaching in the more recent years has been leadership management related. And I think it just helps me to be able to be a better leader.
More well-rounded. Right.
I think so. I think you get, and I mean, I think there's so many parts of your life that you are coached. You're coached. If I have a personal trainer. That person holds me accountable. Spiritual coaches, your therapists, like all those things, I think are super important to be well-rounded.
Love it. So, as an Elevate coach, what is the number one mindset you try to teach your students?
My biggest focus with my students is their goals, what makes them happy and what their goals are. Guild, we do such an amazing job with collaborating and sharing all of the amazing tools and, sharing what we're doing for success. And I love that. But sometimes it can cause us to reflect and say, well, I'm failing or I'm not doing this, or I'm not doing this well. And so, you might not be someone who is going to dial in on social media. It might not be your thing, and that's okay. But what is your thing? So let's find what your thing is that not only makes you happy, but what you're really going to give your all to. I think that's what's important for me. So I like the term block out the noise, right? Like let's block out all the noise and let's focus in on really what's going to move the dial for you personally.
We've been talking a lot about it. It's like, how do you get your students to fall back in love with the business, right?
Right.
Because if we're doing things that we don't like to do or comfortable doing, we probably don't do those things, right?
100%. Yeah.
So, and we can do it a lot of different ways, which is great too. Success can come in many different styles.
Yes. And you can tell when you're setting goals with your students and they are saying the things that they think you want to hear. And then you kind of can continue to uncover what they really want. You're like, okay, let's pivot and let's go after what you really want.
The other thing is you haven't just built your business on transactions. You've really made some transformation in your community. And you just completed a great golf tournament where you raised $40,000 for Guild Giving. So talk to us about that. What did that mean to you? Why did you get involved? Tell us a little bit about it.
Well, I will say one of those many coaching programs that I've been through, one of the requirements in that coaching program is giving. And giving dollars. And so when I knew I was all in on the coaching, and so when I knew I had to give money, I had to find a charity that I was going to be passionate about. It's wild to me to say this out loud, but it's never been childhood cancer. Too emotional. I've tried to do some things and I get far too emotional. And so for me, back then, I found this nonprofit that was an adult day club. And it was an adult day club for cognitive impairment. So dementia, Parkinson's, Alzheimer's. And it wasn't just a day club where they're sitting in front of a TV or they're playing bingo. It was doing crafts and woodworking and chair Zumba and cooking classes. And it really got their minds, history classes. It got their minds going. And there's actually signs of reversal in that memory loss because of the things they're doing in this nonprofit. So I've been heavily involved with that. And I promote it all the time as much as I possibly can. But I also respect that every single one of our employees may also have a passion and have a passion for a different type of nonprofit. And so I love that with this golf tournament, we were able to support 2 other nonprofits that were in need. And supporting them really shows that you're supporting your loan officers too, because they're passionate about these. And so it was cool. The golf tournament was really, really cool. I mean, we, like you said, raised over 40,000, 20,000 went to each charity. And it's the charities we selected, that makes a huge impact. So it's really cool.
Especially, and it's local, right? In your community.
Local. Yep.
So if there are loan officers out there who want to do something similar or get involved with their community, where do they start? Like, what would you tell them? How would you coach them to get going?
Yeah, I think the first thing is figure out what is going to be passionate for you. I didn't know at the time why I was being called to the Alzheimer's dementia world. I just said, this is what's ringing on my heart. Since I've lost my grandfather from the disease, my dad is early diagnosed with dementia and my father-in-law is mid dementia right now. So it's all around me. And, being involved as I have been, it's allowed me to understand and be able to help my parents and my mom and my mother-in-law kind of deal with the thing. So I think you have to find something that's calling you. You may not know why. It might just be, hey, you know what? I like the idea of this nonprofit. And so contact them. You have 2 paths. You can go and volunteer and start showing up for they always need volunteers, or serve on the board. I love serving on the boards of nonprofits, mostly the one I have, because again, you're learning. I mean, I've learned, the financials of the organization. As a nonprofit, the board is the management of the CEO. And so you're kind of leading the organization. And, of course, you're doing it next to the organization and the CEO, but man, it's fun. It's a learning experience. And then I've ended up doing a lot of loans for them. So that helps too.
Nice. Yeah. So you're bridging that together.
Yeah.
The other thing you've said is that Monday mornings are your favorite part of the week. So tell us about Monday mornings, because do you know how many people go, it's Monday morning, but you love them? Talk to us about that.
I love them. And I love them because of this reason. And it seems crazy, but it's the best part of my week. At 9 a.m. every single Monday, we have a team meeting. And this team is, both my branches. We've added some other local branches in there. We've added some, one-off LOs that seem like they're on an island. And so we have about 33 plus people on every single Monday. A lot are on camera, a lot aren't, but the ones on camera, I just love starting my week by seeing them. And it's me, like I show up and I'm like, good morning, happy Monday, how's everyone's weekend? Like it just brings this energy to me. And then of course goes to them. So I just like starting my week off that way. They leave me with so much. It's a quick, easy meeting, but it turns into, from a production manager, sharing information of, from the week of what we've learned or what we need to adjust or change. And then I do any sales topics. Do we have any events coming up or anything we need to talk about? And then it's kind of open mic, who got bit by something, who has something cool to share. Does anyone want to talk about a new program? It can last 15 minutes. It can last 30 based on how the conversation goes. And then we hang up and we're on with our day. So it's just a great way to start with your team if you are excited to see them.
And then you also do you do a daily workout in the morning?
Yeah, I see a trainer 3 days a week. As I mentioned, I am probably not the biggest lover of exercise, and I've been seeing her for about 9 years now, and that accountability is priceless. She's there waiting for me, so I can't dip out on her. And so I think it's helped me a lot to get into that routine of every morning. Besides the days that I'm seeing her, getting up and doing it myself.
So if anyone's listening and they're struggling right now, right? Because it's been tough, right? The last 3 years. What would you say to them?
I would say find a win. You have to find a win somehow, some way. Call your best agent, call your best past client, um, check something off that's been on your list that's been a big, ugly thing. Check it off. Do something that gives you a win, gives you that little dose of dopamine, because that's what we need right now. It helps you to continue. Um, I that this hammer 100 that Jimmy has put everywhere, it to me in my mind, I think of the 5-second rule, the 5 4 3 2 1, because you don't have time in between calls to think, and so you're just going. I think the 5-second rule, 5 4 3 2 1, go. I think that is so important for people that are hesitant. So just do it. Just make the call, do the activity, do something that gives you a win, because then you're going to feel so much better and you're going to keep wanting that win. The way you feel is going to make you want to keep going.
So if someone hasn't heard about the Hammer 100, what is that Hammer 100?
The Hammer 100 is a 1 full day of phone calls where you have someone on the other end answer the phone. You talk to 100 people, and before you hang up, you ask those 100 people for the business. So you are not allowed to end your day until you have talked to 100 people and asked them for the business.
So we did one in our area. And so I was on doing the calls too. Well, I had to leave for a happy hour and I got back, and I still made some calls from 6 to 7. I think I had, I don't know, 12 calls left. And it was like 8:30 at night. And so we were on Teams and I said, I don't know, you guys, I still have 12 calls, or whatever. And someone said, come on, coach. And so I was like, gosh, 8:30, is that too late to call people? So I ended up starting to call my neighbors and people
Right.
I knew just to get it done because we had to finish it. But
Yeah,
it's a really great challenge.
it's
And
incredible.
it's incredible. And I think too, once you get through that Hammer 100, a power hour call, 1 hour a day is like nothing,
Easy. Yep,
right?
easy.
It's
Yeah,
easy.
I have the perfect example of why it's so powerful, and it's because of the ask part. In my Hammer 100, I called a past client, and we were just catching up, and she was about to hang up. Thanks, okay, good to hear from you. And I go, whoa, wait, one more thing. I'm like, hey, if you know anyone that's looking to buy or sell, I would love to be a resource. And she goes, oh, I'm leaving right now to go talk to a good friend of mine. He wants to sell his house. Do you know a real estate agent? If I would have allowed her to just say, okay, bye, hang up, which is probably what normally happens after you've caught up with someone, that never would have come up. But by me saying, do you have anyone you want me to talk to about buying and selling? She gave me a name and I was able to refer that over to a real estate agent. So it was pretty cool.
I know. It's getting to that second level question because if you can get to the second level and uncover
Mhm.
something, there's a lot of times you're going to find a deal somewhere, right? Or be helpful,
Yep.
right?
Yep.
And you talk about the giver's gain. What does that mean to you?
I fully believe in, and it really did. The idea behind giving 10% of my income back in that old coaching, man, that was rough to wrap my head around, but I was all in and I did it. And man, it really does come back to you. I mean, when you give, and it does not have to be financially, if you give your time, if you give to people, you are going to end up on top and you're going to end up gaining. And I believe that not just with, nonprofits, but I believe that with referrals. I think that if, business to business, if I can um, constantly remember to refer people that I'm networking with, they're going to remember me. And my loan officers, if I constantly pour into them, they're going to want to succeed. They're going to want to do better because they know I'm pouring into them and they want to be better.
So, what are you looking forward to in 2026? We're getting close to the end of the year here.
Well, I have heard from so many that 2026 is going to be a great year. So I am looking forward to that. I think this end of this year has given a lot of us time to really hone in on our processes and our systems. And so I think most of us should be ready to go in 2026 and have everything dialed in with our business planning and our processes. And so I think 2026 should be easy and it should be busier. And I'm just looking forward to continuing to be here. I mean, I think we have the best support at Guild. We have a lot to look forward to.
A lot to look forward to. Well, I want to thank you so much for coming on our podcast. Again, I'm sure everyone's seen and heard in your voice the energy that you have and how much you give to your group, which I'm sure they love you. But you're a great coach, you're a great mentor, and thank you so much for being on our call today.
Thank you for having me. It means a lot. I appreciate you.
Thanks for listening to Elevate Your Business, a podcast from Elevate, the internal coaching program at Guild Mortgage. Glad you could be here for today's playbook. If you want to check us out, head over to guildmortgage.com and click About Us to find Elevate Coaching. Have a question or want to keep the play going? Visit us and send a DM on Instagram at Elevate Mortgage Coaching, or leave a comment for us on YouTube. We're posting extra content, behind-the-scenes action, and everything you need to stay in the mortgage game. On Elevate Your Business, we share real stories and strategies from top producers to help you move forward. So ask yourself, what are you waiting for? It's time to elevate.
Guild Mortgage Company, NMLS identification number 3274, NMLSconsumeraccess.org, Equal Housing Opportunity, Equal Opportunity Employer, Arizona Banking License number 0018883. Licensed by the Department of Financial Protection and Innovation under the California Residential Mortgage Lending Act. Massachusetts Mortgage Lender and Broker License number MC3274. Licensed by the Mississippi Department of Banking and Consumer Finance. Licensed by the New Jersey Department of Banking and Insurance. Nevada Mortgage Company number 1141. Oregon Mortgage Lending number NL176. Rhode Island licensed lender and third-party loan servicer. Guild Mortgage Company, 5887 Copley Drive, San Diego, California, 92111. For licensing, visit guildmortgage.com/licensing. All loans subject to underwriter approval. Terms and conditions apply. Subject to change without notice. Elevate is an internal Guild Mortgage Company coaching program and not a separate entity. Podcast content is provided for informational purposes and based on publicly available materials or tactics used in the industry. The views, strategies, or opinions discussed do not necessarily represent those of Guild Mortgage Company or its affiliates. Intended for mortgage industry professionals only.
Paula Nirschl, NMLS number 383396. Shannon Heinze, NMLS number 408600.
Thank you for joining us on Elevate Your Business, a podcast for mortgage professionals brought to you by Elevate, the internal coaching program at Guild Mortgage.